You've met them before. The person who speaks with absolute confidence, who argues with conviction, certain they're right, even when they're not. Maybe it's a coworker, a friend, or someone online. Or maybe, if you're honest, it's you. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. The less we know, the more certain we tend to feel. And the more we learn, the less sure we become. This paradox is one of the cruelest tricks of the human mind, the Dunning-Kruger effect. But this isn't just about stupid people. It's about all of us. It's about how our brains lie to protect our fragile sense of competence, and how ignorance, dressed in confidence, often rises where humility should have prevailed. Think about the last time you were sure you were right, about politics, relationships, or even your own intelligence. That rush of certainty felt good, didn't it? Certainty gives us control. It anchors us. It makes us feel safe in a chaotic world. But what if that confidence wasn't proof of truth, but of blindness? What if certainty, not doubt, is the first symptom of ignorance? Socrates once said, "I know that I know nothing." He wasn't being poetic. He was diagnosing the human condition. The wise don't trust their own knowledge. The fool does. And in that single difference lies the tragedy of civilization after civilization. In 1999, psychologists David Dunning and Dunning-Kruger conducted a study that would become infamous. They found that people who performed the worst on tests of logic, grammar, and humor consistently overestimated their abilities. They thought they were above average, sometimes even excellent, while those who actually performed well tended to underestimate themselves. Ignorance creates not only mistakes, it creates illusions. It blinds us to the depth of our own incompetence. To put it simply, the less you know, the less you realize how much you don't know. It's like standing in a dark room, holding a match, and believing you've illuminated the world. Now here's the twist. The more you learn, the more self-aware you become, the less certain you feel. You start to see the vastness of what you don't understand. You begin to grasp how fragile your beliefs are, how easily your mind can be deceived. Knowledge brings humility. Ignorance brings arrogance. Nietzsche wrote that convictions are more dangerous enemies of truth than lies, because once you believe you know, you stop looking, you stop questioning, and you start defending your illusion of intelligence like a soldier guarding a crumbling castle. Look around. We live in an age where confidence is currency. We reward those who speak loudly, not those who think deeply. Charisma replaces competence. Influence replaces insight. Social media has turned the Dunning-Kruger effect into a culture. Everyone's an expert on everything: economics, philosophy, psychology, politics. A few articles, a quote from Nietzsche, and suddenly they're a thinker. But real understanding is quiet. It's not loud or showy. It's hesitant, humble, patient, because it knows how easily the mind can lie to itself. We've mistaken certainty for wisdom and confidence for truth. So why does this happen? Why do we all, at some level, fall victim to the illusion of intelligence? Because our ego cannot survive uncertainty. The human mind hates not knowing. It's like a psychological itch we must scratch. When reality feels too complex, too overwhelming, we simplify it into stories that make us feel in control. We call those stories opinions, but they're really just shields. Shields against humility, against the terror of admitting we might be wrong. And every time we defend a belief we barely understand, we reinforce that shield until it becomes a prison. Bonhoeffer, the German theologian who was executed by the Nazis, once said something chilling. Stupidity is a more dangerous enemy of the good than malice. Because evil can be confronted and exposed, but stupidity, he said, is impervious to reason. It's not that stupid people are malicious, it's that they don't know they're stupid. They act in ignorance, certain they are right, and in that certainty, they become unstoppable. You see, the Dunning-Kruger effect isn't a judgment, it's a mirror. It's not saying some people are dumb, it's saying all of us are blind to our blindness. You don't know what you don't know, and the more certain you are that you get it, the more likely it is that you don't. It's the same reason teenagers think their parents are idiots until they become parents themselves. It's why beginners in philosophy talk like prophets until they read enough to realize how little they understand. It's why we argue with such confidence online, convinced our half-formed thoughts are profound truths. We mistake clarity for correctness. We mistake familiarity for understanding. We mistake loudness for depth. The cure to stupidity isn't intelligence, it's humility. Because humility keeps the mind open. It lets doubt in. It allows wisdom to grow in the soil where certainty once stood. Plato's allegory of the cave tells us that most people live chained to illusions, shadows on the wall, believing they see reality. And when one escapes and returns to tell the others the truth, they mock him. Because to the ignorant, truth always looks like madness. That's the Dunning-Kruger effect in its purest form. It's not just about being wrong. It's about being blind to your own blindness and attacking anyone who tries to show you the light. So pause for a moment. Ask yourself, where might you be wrong? What ideas do you hold with unearned certainty? What topics do you think you understand but have never truly studied? It's not a comfortable question, but the first step toward wisdom is humiliation, the painful awareness of our own ignorance. Every great thinker started there. Socrates, humbled by his own questions. Nietzsche, shattered by his own contradictions. Bonhoeffer, silenced by a world too blind to see. They all began by confronting their limits, by realizing that understanding is not a destination, it's a direction. The Dunning-Kruger effect didn't start in the 20th century. It's woven into history. Kings believed themselves gods. Priests believed themselves infallible. Revolutionaries believed they were saving the world, even as they built new tyrannies in the name of freedom. Every era has been ruled by those who believed they knew, and destroyed by those who refused to question themselves. The arrogance of certainty has toppled empires, fueled wars, and silenced truth-tellers. It's not stupidity that kills societies. It's false intelligence. Here's the great paradox. The smarter you become, the dumber you feel. Because the deeper you go into knowledge, the more you see how infinite it truly is. You stop seeing yourself as the hero of understanding and start seeing yourself as a student again. And in that moment, humility becomes your superpower. True wisdom doesn't shout. It listens. It questions. It doubts. As Lao Tzu wrote in the Tao Te Ching, "He who knows does not speak. He who speaks does not know." Maybe silence, not speech, is the mark of intelligence. So the next time you're certain you're right, pause. When you feel the thrill of superiority, the satisfaction of knowing better, stop and ask yourself, is this truth or ego? Because the fool always feels wise, and the wise always feel like fools. The Dunning-Kruger effect isn't a problem we fix. It's a mirror we learn to live with. But if you can hold that mirror without flinching, if you can see your own ignorance and still choose to learn, then you've already escaped the illusion that traps most of humanity. Wisdom doesn't begin with knowledge. It begins with the courage to admit how little we know. And maybe that's what makes us truly intelligent.